Meltdown number 2 came from a post I found on X. It says, it has been almost 2 years since Triple H replaced Vince McMahon as WWE Creative Head, but Triple H has not been able to create even one new megastar who could be in the main event of WrestleMania. He tried to make Jay Uso a big star, but it flopped miserably. Even Tiffany Stratton and Io Sky experiments did not work out for him. At the end of the day, Triple H has given the WrestleMania main event to 5 superstars who Vince McMahon created and made famous, hence proved WWE is nothing without Vincent K. McMahon. So we're 2 years into this Triple H creative wheel, and the IWC's already out here yelling, no new superstars, right? WWE is nothing without Vince McMahon. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Triple H was supposed to go from becoming head of creative and having a successful company to completely tearing these guys down in 18 months and just inserting all his new people. The same thing the IWC has complained about every time he's tried to push like a Tommaso Ciampa or a Johnny Gargano. They've got to make up their mind. Yeah. You either got to give him enough rope to try out some of these new superstars, or understand that in 2 years, you can't make new superstars. That not on the level that WWE expects them to be stars. The IWC has to stop acting. This is a weird thing they're doing now, that Vince McMahon just would snap his fingers and superstars were born. Like in the first year of The Rock, he was The Rock. Or in the first year of Stone Cold, he was Stone Cold. Or that it only took 365 days to make a John Cena. None of those guys were main eventing in year 1. I don't expect to see the full effects of a Triple H run WWE for at least 2 to 3 more years. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you have to give people time to kind of find out who they are and stuff like that. Like, I remember seeing Roman Reigns in the beginning of the Shield. I remember how much I hated him.
Yeah, sure.
And then, like, we came back and we watched again, and I was like, that's like Roman Reigns, the one that I remember I hated. And you're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I like him now.
Yeah.
I think a couple of years passed, or I don't even know how long it was, but that's what I can equate it to. There wasn't somebody who I just saw like, oh my God, that's it, that person. But I think Tiffany Stratton's doing well. Maybe it's just because I'm partial to her because I like her.
I'm going to get to that in just a second. The reality is, to me, Triple H took over a company that's got 50 plus years of history. It's got all of these superstars who are established. You don't just throw in new people for the sake of throwing in new people. That is the AEW formula, and that is the exact way that you lose the casual audience, is take away what is familiar. I just said it earlier, right? They're still looking for Stone Cold, a lot of them. So to just rip those people out is absolutely insane. But let's talk like you said about Tiffany Stratton, right? Tiffany's been on the main roster for a year and some change, okay? Yeah. She's getting consistent TV time. She's getting a loud pop from the crowd. Every time we see her go out there, she's getting better. She's getting better. I mean, I really feel like when given the opportunity, she can talk on a microphone. She was caught off guard by Charlotte Flair the other night. I will die on this hill of Charlotte undercut her in that promo, and it won't happen again.
Yeah.
Tiffany's ready. But this... I don't know who's out here screaming that Tiffany Stratton's a failure.
I think she's a success story.
I would point to Tiffany Stratton as being one of Triple H's biggest accomplishments. I'd also look at Jay Uso, and I'm a little bit confused. Once again, this comes down to the IWC wanting these people to be flippy flip and kicky kick and suplex and powerbomb. The reality is Jay Uso gets the loudest reactions in all of professional wrestling. Every company, nobody is getting a bigger reaction than Jay Uso. Nobody's gotten this big of a reaction since Bryan Danielson. That to me, you hear this reaction every week. You cannot call Jay Uso a flop. You cannot say Jay Uso's not a megastar. Is there work to be done? Sure, but we're talking about 2 years in. He's taken a guy who was a second level in the bloodline, who was a established tag team wrestler, and he's brought him in 2 years to a
I
world
thought they were
heavyweight
crazy
championship
when
match.
they broke them up. But I mean, I ate my own words once everybody was eating.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, he did. He could have just stayed with the old Vince McMahon pattern and kept them in the tag team, and they could have tag team for the rest of their careers. They could have been the Usos, and they'd have been fine, and they'd have gone down as probably the greatest tag team of all time. But instead, Triple H took a chance on these guys, and we've seen Jay, and now we're seeing Jimmy come into his own. So that argument I don't really like. And then Io Sky, someone who I have never been particularly fond of. You can't, she is the world heavyweight champion right now for the women's division. Okay. That's about as high up the ladder as you can be. She is getting major crowd reaction when she is in a ring with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. She is stealing the show week in and week out. We know that I think Bianca Belair is the top of the division. We know that there's a lot of people who will argue Rhea Ripley is the top of the division. And right now, you can't argue Io Sky, because here's the thing. All three of them are baby faces. None of them are heels. And Io Sky's out baby facing two of my favorite baby faces. So the argument that she's not successful, once again, I don't even understand that, because she does all the flippy flips you guys like. So is it that you just don't want to admit that any of these people are success stories? But here's another one, Lauren, that I'm going to throw at you.
Do it.
That we just like to pretend didn't happen. Liv Morgan.
Oh.
Under Vince McMahon, Liv Morgan, a lot of us hated.
Shit.
Oh,
I
man.
did. Personally, I was like, I don't think that she's ready for this.
And Triple H decided at some point to throw her into the fire. And we said, I remember me and Mike going back and saying, ooh, this is scary.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it the Dominik Mysterio effect?
No, not with Liv, no. It's that Liv Morgan stepped up and shut us all the fuck up.
True.
She was about what she was about. She got better. And she shut us all the fuck up. And now she is a mainstay in the women's division. That is creating a superstar. She was not this. There is now no question. I could go back and search through my videos, and I'm not going to do this because I'm not going to shit on myself like this, but I made a statement, 100% confident, and I will bring it up right now. I said Liv Morgan will never win another World Heavyweight Championship. I said that
You did.
a year ago.
I agreed with you.
I will go on record. She's probably going to win 3 or 4 more. She has established herself in that upper echelon of women's wrestlers now. So that's somebody that was made under Triple H. You just said, but Dirty Dom was made in the Triple H era. And Dirty Dom, while he's not, I'll argue, he's not main event, but he is a superstar. Dirty
People
Dom.
know who he is.
And he gets great crowd reaction. And he is a utility heel that they can lean on. And he's not going to fuck up. He's not going to botch in matches. He's going to get you a reaction. He understands who he is, and he understands how to work a crowd. And that's all come under the Triple H regime. Braun Breaker is the other one. Like, come on, man. Braun Breaker is fantastic. Yeah. He's been fantastic. Bronson Reed has been fantastic. Just because he's not around right now, let's not pretend. 2 years is not long enough. In 5 years, Braun Breaker will be a superstar, megastar, absolutely the biggest guy in the company, along with Bronson Reed, right? And let's talk about LA Knight. Let's talk about LA Knight, somebody who Vince McMahon made the fucking manager of the Maximum Male Models.
Oh, I forgot about
and
that.
And it took Triple H coming in and going, nah, you're good. You could wrestle again. And he became LA Knight. So
I liked Maximum Male Models.
Sure, they were fine.
Maxine
they were funny.
Dupree
but
was
the Maximum
the girl,
Male,
no?
Yeah, but the Maximum Male Models existed with LA Knight as only a manager. He was never going to wrestle again under Vince McMahon.
That's crazy.
And Triple H decided, nah, man, we're going to let you wrestle, okay? And he fucking killed it, right? So we've got to forget, we got to realize, also we had to realize when we talk about this 2 years, that's a little messy too, because let's not forget Vince McMahon left, got in his trouble, tried to fucking sneak back in the back door, and he was looking over Triple H's shoulder as he made decisions.
True.
And then the second wave of bullshit came out about Vince McMahon, and they were like, no, bro, lock the doors. He can't come back in. So there's still question as to how long Triple H has actually been holding the steering wheel of the company. But it's, come on, man. Like, you can't look at, we have brand deals. We've got sponsorships. The PLEs have been good. Like, don't act like that WWE became some indie organization when Triple H took over. If you had the cheat codes, right? If you are given the option to pick CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, you're not going to cast them aside to prove that, like, oh, I could do this on my own. You continue to use your superstars while the next generation is building.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that's the problem. Triple H is making stars. You're just an impatient fuck. You're too busy crying about CM Punk and shit like that on the internet to notice that this is a slow burn. This ain't AEW. We don't stick people in the microwave. We don't put them in the microwave and cook them on super fast speed. We put people in the oven because fucking meat tastes better from the oven than it does in a microwave. We're not in a hurry. You want generational talent? Watch for the next 2 to 3 years. These seeds are planted right now. Watch what Tiffany Stratton becomes. Watch what Braun Breaker becomes. And stop yelling into our fucking garden every week. That's the reality.